Issue 59. Sonic and Tails get sucked into what seems like the same zone that Al and Cal were in, with Sonic even saying this place is familiar. Just then, they survive a blast, although it looks more like they narrowly dodged it, but I guess they didn't. And someone says that because of this, perhaps they can make use of them, calling them intruders. A large robot with cannons on it is the one saying that, to a really tall robot called Birdie Cal. What, were Al and Cal somehow roboticized into these things? That looks nothing like them. Then Horizontal says that long ago they existed as companions, and because their zone was not governed by any laws of physics, somehow this led to them being able to spend their time having fun, rather than it lead to their bodies not being able to hold themselves together or functioning correctly. Why are these people giving these long speeches to people that they don't... Sonic and Tails can't hear them for some reason. This is really stilted. It would have been accomplished better in text blurbs than having the characters monologuing. The Ultimate Annihilators explained to have collapsed the zone with Al and Cal surviving as primitive protoplasmic entities because magic. How do they even know about the Ultimate Annihilator in the first place, let alone what it's called? Also, because magic, their zone began to re-evolve instead of just staying collapsed, and as did their primal powers grow, so did their mutual mistrust, and they began to blame each other for the destruction of their home. Why? Why would they ever think either of them was responsible for it? They just said it was the Ultimate Annihilator's fault. Then they start warring again when I thought they had made up, because, as vertical lampshades, they had just decided that Sonic and Tails would serve as their combatants. They still haven't explained how Al and Cal got transformed into their mechs, but I guess that's magic too. Although that just brings up the question of how they were able to stay in their human forms for so long, and why they didn't just go back to those forms instead of these ones. Not to mention why they even exist in the first place. Why would they, who are their parents in this zone? Then Horizontal says that he plans to enslave Sonic and Tails' minds, and outfit them for combat and send them against each other. I'd like to point out that there's no attempt at an explanation for why these guys want to be villains and are doing any of this. Meanwhile, Sonic and Tails reveal that they weren't able to overhear the whole conversation that I don't think was too far away from them, or the warring, which was probably pretty loud. I guess they were dazed to the point where they were deaf, and I was pretty shocked that they actually managed to get Sonic and Tails to fight each other so easily. Well, they do have access to a lot of magic. This entire wacky zone is a result of magic overflow. I like how Tails reveals that he's doing, or at least getting pretty close to making a spin dash, making actual progress combat-wise, although Tails has literally been able to spin dash since the first game he ever appeared in. He shouldn't really be just learning how to do this now. And Sonic naturally is able to counter a spin dash because he knows how to do it too. Suddenly, Tails somehow snaps out of it, as Sonic is spin dashing through his weapon, and Tails gets scared and reminds him that they're friends. This is very contrived. I do feel really sorry for him though. This must be terrifying for him. I wonder if he got nightmares from this. Equally miraculously, Sonic snaps out of it too just because Tails reminded him that they were friends, instead of thinking he was just trying to trick him. And the two of them have an adorable and heartwarming friendship moment, with Sonic ruffling Tails' hair and the two hugging each other. It's sweet, this should really happen more often, but still, they snapped out of the brainwashing that easily? That's the worst brainwashing ever! Do you think with all the magic in this zone, it wouldn't be that incompetent? After Sonic asks Al and Cal why the hell they've turned into these things, he's not given a proper answer, which is all the more frustrating that just not asking the question at all. Instead he's told yours is not to reason why. What kind of grammar is that? Sonic and Tails put one arm around each other like best buddies, and adorably reason that the power of friendship can break through anything. This is sweet looking, but again, doesn't make any sense. Why were they even brainwashed in the first place then? Tails somehow comes to the conclusion that Al and Cal need to work together to create some kind of physical laws in this zone, even though it was already stated that the zone didn't have lots of physics to begin with, and that was why they're able to spend all day recreating, and they don't tell Tails that he's wrong. Sadly, they just keep warring for no reason, in what I think is even supposed to be funny. And Sonic and Tails are fortunate enough to escape from the zone, with Sonic saying the cathartic line, "Good riddance." My sentiments exactly, Sonic. Good riddance to this story. It had no logic whatsoever and was just made of plot holes and contrivances. There's a backup story at least, which I had to go out of my way to find. We actually get a good downtime story for once, as we get to see something Sally and Rhoda do in their spare time. They're skydiving, just for the fun of it. All to celebrate the fact that now Eggman isn't there to stop them from it. It's pointless in the grand scheme of things, but lighthearted downtime is still something really valuable that should be a lot more common, especially after a long time of a serious tone. A random civilian then invites Sally, Rhoda, Hamlin, Hershey, and Lupe from the Wolf Pack in for dinner. Before they can do that, Sally goes to look for Lupe and Eric, with Eric, whoever that is, being caught in a tree. Fortunately, Sally somehow thought to bring a knife with her to cut him free from it because I guess she was smart enough to plan for this exact scenario. Then they find Lupe, since she shows she's able to howl really loudly because she's a Wolfmobian. And with me being a little underwhelmed that no real conflict happened with the missing partners, they get invited for dinner with some random civilian, with Sally replying to her question of what it's like to be a princess with, "I'll have to get back to you on that." Naturally, as it'd take a long time for her to finish complaining, it'd be awkward to just walk into a stranger's home complaining in the middle of a long rant and then have to repeat everything you said to her. Then Sally goes home, with Hamlin bitching that it looks too high-tech because I guess he got the kidney virus thanks to Robotnik, and Rosie immediately offers Sally a cup of hot cocoa before turning in. Aw, that's sweet. Again, she's a good mother figure. It's nice to see moments like this reaffirming that. At the end, it turns out Sally was caught on camera because, well, Robotnik probably had those in the base already, and no point in letting them go to waste. And the king tells Jeffrey to escort the princess to her with a royal guard because she's been avoiding him lately and they need to talk. Yeah, she's been avoiding her father, after finally getting him back to normal, even though Sonic told her when he left that she should get to know her father again. So why is she avoiding him? Sadly, the story ends before we get to find out. The first story was written by Mike Gallagher? Huh, it's been so long I thought he'd been fired. Same for Mike Kantorovich. I guess he's the one who left. But yeah, with all the complaining about Penders, you'd think he wrote the story. But instead, he's writing the Knuckles comic, which is actually good, and one of the best writers wrote a story with no logic whatsoever. I can't believe they didn't bother to explain why Al and Cal changed into those weird things, and why they started randomly warring against each other, and why Sonic and Tails were brainwashed and then snapped out of it so damn easily, and why Tails came to the conclusion that Zone would have lots of physics if Al and Cal were friends. None of this makes any sense and the story didn't need to exist. The second story was written by Ken Penders, and ironically, again, it was much better than Mike Gallagher's. Granted, it felt totally pointless, not even any real conflict with Lupe and Eric getting in danger, but it was refreshing to see a harmless, lighthearted story showing the freedom fighters in downtime for once, showing what they do for fun in their spare time to make them more believable as people. This is what issues 51 and 52 needed to be about. But of course with some actually important stuff happening at some points. I'm looking forward to the King's Talk Wizard, that'll be interesting.